All right, so hi everybody. Thank you for coming to our webinar. Today, November 13th. So this is our second webinar of the series, but they're all the same. Well, not exactly the same. So I'm Karen, and maybe you've met me. If not, hi, it's great to meet you. And we've got Stephen. Do you want to say hi, Stephen?
Hello.
Very good. And Patsy.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Great. So this is most of our customer service team, and we're here because we care about how this new year goes for you, and we want to help, and we want to do everything we can to see you be successful. It's even in Patsy's title. Your success
Ah,
is good job. All right. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen, and we can look at some slides. What do I want to do here? All right. Good. Okay, so hopefully our adorable little sloth situation came up. And here we are, BillTrack50. Welcome to the webinar. So we always like to start with a nice quote. And basically, before anything else, preparation is the key to success. So kudos to you for coming here and trying to get prepared. We appreciate it. You doing everything right is going to help us not have to fix whatever goes wrong. But if it does go wrong, we are here. So, right. So, hello. I'm Karen, and Michael is not here tonight. Maybe he'll pop in. Hard to say. And you've met Patsy and you've met Steven. So, feel free to write to any of us. Always happy to hear from you. Okay, so today we are going to start with the new features and the other stuff that we built in this year so that if you haven't been in since your session ended, there are some new things to see. So we'll just take a little tour of that, and in the process, it will remind you how BillTrack50 works. Then we'll move on to the housekeeping that we ask you to do every year to keep your account all tidy and in wait, what is it? Bristol shape and
Ship
Bristol
shape and
fashion?
Bristol fashion. That's right.
Bristol fashion. And then we will go through the steps that you need to take to get your bill sheets ready to take in the new bills. And also talk a little bit about what to do if you don't want your bill sheets to take in the new bills. And then we have some announcements with our subscription changes. And if you get our newsletter, then you already know what those are. If you don't get our newsletter, wow, maybe you should. But we're telling you today. And then we will give you a little preview about what we're developing for next year. And we'd love to get your feedback on how that's going, what kinds of things you'd like to see. So as a note, of course, please do put your questions in as we go along. And again, the chat is open for you to use. But also after this webinar, you will get an email tomorrow saying thank you for coming, which is sincere. Thank you for coming, with a bunch of resources. So you will get all the things that we're talking about today. Stephen's written up a great blog post going over all these things. So this is just so that you see it, but you will get a written record of it tomorrow, along with a bunch of other helpful resources we think will be useful to you during the year. And finally, a survey link so that you can tell us what you thought of the webinar and also give us some advice for like what the next product is we should work on. All right, so that is the resources coming at you, so you can just relax and watch this and don't feel like you have to take a million notes. We will send you instructions with screenshots tomorrow. Okay, so let us talk about the new features. Great place to start, right? And it's been a big year, right, Patsy? Big year. All right, here we go.
Let's go.
You better not mute yourself because you never know when I'm gonna
I know.
say something
I
to you.
know.
Okay, so biggest thing in 2024 that we added over the summer was our AI tools. So if you haven't been in, excited to tell you, we have some really great new stuff to show you. So among other things, we have added simple AI generated bill summaries to all of the bills. And in states where there aren't summaries or where the summaries are super long, I think you'll find the AI summaries to be very useful. So hopefully that saves you time and gives you some confidence as you're going through your bills. We also have our recommended bills feature and our similar bills feature. And I'm going to go ahead and show you that so that you can see it in action. All right, so, okay, here's some BillTrack50. Twink. And let's see. What would be good? Let's look at, how about deep fakes? No, I did deceptive advertising. Bad click. Deep fakes. Okay, so I've got this search set up, and my query is simply deepfake or deepfake with a space in it. And then I said I want it in reference to elections and the like. So that gives me these results. And that's because that's the word I've heard out there, and I'm interested in getting started. So I've got these results. Wonderful. The AI summary is actually available as a column, so you can add it right into your bill sheet if you want, which means you can also export it and use it elsewhere. So the summaries are fair game to put in your client reports or whatever else you're doing. Have fun with them. All right, so this list of bills pretty much has to do with deepfakes. Yep, so now I have this button down here. So this is our new button. This similar button will take these bills, try to figure out what they have in common, and then look to see if there's any other bills like that from this year. And so I click that button and it takes me to this new similar tab. So these are bills that were about the deepfake topic, but didn't have all of the words that we had in our search. So it found other things that said deepfake that weren't about elections, but then it also found other things about elections that didn't say deepfake. And so this says artificial intelligence and deceptive synthetic media. So now I know deceptive synthetic media might be a search term that I would like to add to my query. So this is a great way to kind of look through and, first of all, obviously help you see if you missed any bills, but also let you know if the language has changed a little bit or if one state says things a little bit differently, then you can see those words and add them to your query. So it's a tool in both of those ways to help you find actual bills, but also to help you build your bill sheet. Patsy, any thoughts on how you've been using this similar feature on the bill sheets?
I like it as a, covering my bases, make sure I have everything. I like it, like you said, for sort of farming good language. Sometimes how we speak about things in society is not how they speak about them in legislation. And so reviewing it for that. And then sometimes, while it's nice to look at the whole country, maybe I really only care about like the state I'm working in and maybe like a few that might share my borders. And so each of these columns have filters on them. And so you can like filter the states in the similar and sort of narrow your parameters if that interests you at all. Because, these folks go to meetings in their region, ideas travel across state lines all the time. But yeah, that's how I like it.
Good.
And then the other tip I would say is, I wouldn't worry a ton about all 100. So if you scroll over to the right, these are sort of in like a descending numerical value. And, 70, 75% and above is a good place so that you don't pressure yourself to feel like, oh my gosh, I need to go through all 100 of these.
Yes, good point. So these are sorted in score order. So you can resort them and see like, what status they're in or what state they're in, and then sort them back to put the best match at the top. But right, so as you scroll down, these are going to get less and less relevant. So as I get down here, we're down into digital forgeries and some other stuff that may not be, although a lot of it still looks a little bit relevant. But yeah, so these have stopped being about elections and stuff. So yes, very good tip there. You don't have to look at the whole 100.
Yeah.
Okay, and then a little bit of a deep dive into what's going on here. It's respecting your query. So Patsy, as you mentioned, if you only limit your query to one state, these results will just be in that state or the states around you. Also, you can put in a year range. So if you'd like to look at the last 5 years worth, we will give you the matches from the last 5 years, which can help you find model bills or the same bill being introduced every year. So that kind of thing. So you can also use it for that kind of exploration to find bills like this from the same state in previous years, or model bills spread out across years, across states. So it can also be a research tool in that way. We bring back the top 100 matches, and the way those are generated is mathematically. So if I click this again, I'm going to get the same 100 matches. But you can, actually, that's not true. Let me rephrase that. It takes 100 bills at random from the list. I've only got 78 here. So if I hit the button, I will get the same results. But if I had 1,000 bills on here, it would take 100 to consider, and that 100 is random. So if you've got a big bill sheet, you can actually hit the button a couple times and get slightly different results. Just because the AI, otherwise it chews for too long. So we just take a random sampling. Another warning is if you've got budget bills in here, you're just going to get junk back as you're similar, because budget bills talk about every single thing and it really muddies the water and the AI won't know what to do with that. So if you do have budget bills in here, you might say not contains budget or appropriations. Well, spell it right. And then that will remove those. And then you can say similar, and it will only consider the ones that you've got in your list, which is another thing you can good Lord, you can limit it to a state and just send those in, and it'll only consider those, or you can limit it to the ones you've supported or the ones that were your priority. So you can limit it first, and then it will send those into the AI, and it will try to figure out what those have in common and give them back to you. So that is the recommended bills feature. So this will take whatever bills you've got here and consider them and recommend things that you don't already have on your list, new things to you, just to make sure that you've caught everything that you should have. So hopefully this seems exciting, and you're excited to give it a try on your bill sheet.
Yeah. Okay, Karen, just before you move on, we have a question from Steve, which says, can you remind us how to add a column to a bill sheet?
Hi, Steve. Such a good question. Okay, so up here, we have this bill sheet template, and this is what controls what columns you've got. All right, so I've got probably a lot of I've made a lot of templates for a lot of different reasons. So my analysis template, for example, I can edit it, and then I just check off what columns I want. So if I want to add the AI summary, and I do, I just click on that, and that will add it in there. And I say save, and now the AI summary will appear in my bill sheet. So we've actually added quite a lot of columns, so there's a lot of information in there. So you can check on and off the things that'll be useful to you. And if you want to make your own column, you can create a column down here, and you can say add a column, pick what kind of column you want, and put it in there so that you can say what is priority or what you support or whatever other comments. And then once you've created it, you can come back here and say edit again, and then that one will be available for you to check on and off. So that is how you make a column, and that is how you can add it into your template. Hopefully that made sense, Steve. It was a quick answer, but that's how you do it. All right, so now if I go in here, I've got the AI summary wherever I stuck it. And you can change the order of the things by dragging them around. So here we can see all these different AI summaries, which are just a nice, easy to read description of what these are doing. All right, so let's pick one of these that we thought is interesting. So artificial intelligence, no, deep fakes, liability elections, great. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this bill. Okay, so now I've got this bill in Alaska, and I've got this one single bill, and I'm curious what else is going on like this around the country. And so instead of taking a bunch of bills and trying to figure out what they have in common and make recommendations, this is a pure what's like this one bill. So it's a much simpler execution of the same idea. So I'm going to now say, not keeping in mind what I care about, just in general, what bills are like this out there in the world. So this will also help you figure out model bills and stuff like that. But it also lets you see what kind of language there is, if these ideas have been successful, how far they've gotten. This is a full-fledged grid, so I can do all the things I can with a bill sheet. So I could, for example, group on progress and say how many of the bills like this one, like how did they do? Quite a number of them passed. A lot, 3 of them were vetoed, kind of a lot. See what's going on there. So you can really kind of get a feel for what's going on with this very specific topic. And again, it can help you figure out words. It can help you in all those ways. But also, it's just a really fun way to kind of look across the country. And I had a very smart customer tell me it's a great way to pressure your legislator by showing them what neighboring states are doing. You know, we don't want to fall behind. Look what they're doing. They've got this language. Maybe we should consider it. Or also giving you an idea of what might be coming that you might want to defend against. So you could use it offensively or defensively. So that is the similar bills. And so this is just purely all the bills across the country, only the current session, what is like this bill you're looking at. And this is super fun. Patsy, I'm sure you've lost a lot of time clicking around and going down these rabbit holes. All right, so that is the A. Go ahead.
One small thing. So if you get in a rabbit hole and you end up wanting to add the bill to your sheet, you don't have to come back up to the grid. The little blue box will give you a place to add it as well. And so you're like, just if you're in a rabbit hole and you see something you like and you don't want to climb back out to the bigger sheet, the little blue box is your friend.
Such a practical tip. Right. So from down here, if I see something I like, I can click on it and add it to my bill sheet and say, I want to track this. But to Patsy's point, once I click on it and look at it and decide, oh, now it's interesting to me, or even I see what's similar to this and I click on that, right? And so pretty soon I've wandered away, but this button is always here for you to add it to your bill sheet. So whatever bill you've gotten yourself to, you can always just plunk it right on your bill sheet if it's something that you do want to follow. Fantastic tip. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so those are our AI features. I hope you're excited to go try it. Maybe you're even ignoring me and trying it now. That would be a great success. So that's the big thing that we worked on this year, and I'd say we're pretty proud of it. So use it in good health. Use it for good and in good health. All right, off we go. So we also worked very, very hard on the regulations, which are coming along nicely. So if you're tracking regulations, maybe you've noticed the improvements, including we now have all 50 states, along with Congress and Washington, D.C. City Council. So complete coverage, which is great. And we've been breaking up the regulations into individual regs where we can. And we've got 9 states to go. So we just finished Illinois. Minnesota's under construction, and we have just a few after that to finish, and then they'll all be individual, which will be very nice. At that point, we'll be able to do AI summaries on the regulations and start to treat them a lot more like bills. So if you are using our regulation product, I'm sure you've noticed that the descriptions and all of that have gotten better as we've gotten through this project this year, and we hope to launch a whole new regulation tracking. I mean, it'll still be regulation sheets, but they'll have more on them, and hopefully we're shooting for that in first quarter. We'll see how that goes. But right, so enjoy that. And we built a whole new help center, which, you know, kudos to Stephen. It was organizational prowess of Patsy, and then Stephen's dedication to bring it all to life. We've added more information to legislators. We switched vendors, and now you have better staff information and some other stuff. The state stats, we're constantly adding stuff to state stats, and we have added all the state budgets into state stats. So don't sleep on that really great feature, because we do work hard on it. And then finally, we've added committee categories in a couple different ways, and that can be pretty useful too. So I'm actually going to give a quick look at that. So state stats is down here. Let me make my screen a little bigger. So this is great. Look at your state, all sorts of stuff in here. I don't know who's still going. Michigan. So you can see like where things are at and da 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 da. But then down here we've got all this extra information for you now. So how many bills are in what committee and what committee is getting the most things through right now is a new feature. And then also down here, we've got links to the state budget by NASBO, which is really helpful. So if that matters to you, like this is a good, easy place to get that too. But also, we've got on the query tab, you can now narrow by committee category. So we've taken all the committees and said for every single committee, is this an education committee? Is this a justice committee? Something about criminal? Is this whatever? And by we, I mean Stephen, went through all the thousands of committees in the country and put them into one of these categories. So this is a wonderful way to narrow when you're getting too much. You can try narrowing it if you are lucky enough to like fall comfortably into education or comfortably into military affairs. Like this can really be helpful. The one thing is it won't show bills until they get assigned to a committee. So you might not get them the day they're introduced. It might take a little longer. But again, that's a reasonable filter, possibly, because if it doesn't get assigned to a committee, you know, what's really going to go anywhere?
So I find that like in the way your current bill sheet example is constructed, it's super useful because across, if your job entails looking at the whole country or a good deal of states, there's going to be some variance in the name. But if you're one of my single state friends, there is still a chance to type your actual committee name. And that's come up a few times this week. So don't want you to think that it ran away. It's still there and may have more utility when you know your state and you're only dealing with like a single committee or so. That's still there for you.
Or you at least for sure want to see everything that goes through a very specific query. Yes, Patsy, very good point. You can still switch back and search by actual committee name. So that is still like legitimate way to go. But now if you're going the whole country, you can now go just by the top level kind of big category. We also now show the committees as a column so that you can use that to filter and group by. So that is a new column that you can add into your bill sheet. So that committee work possibly, hopefully save you a little bit of time. Yep. All right. So those are some of the new things that we've added and how you might take advantage of them. So please do get in there and experiment. Okay. That wraps up the main new features. If you would like to see more, then you can look at the release notes, which is another link in that little blue bar, which we kind of highlight everything that we've added each month. So you can go back through there. We keep that reasonably updated so you can see the new features, and usually that'll have links to more information in there. So we do try to keep you updated that way too. And you can sign up for a newsletter. That link will be in that email you're going to get after the webinar. Okay, so
I'm in the chat.
Oh, thank you. Very good.
I got thanks.
Top of your game. All right, moving on. So new features done. Here's housekeeping. So here are the things that we ask you to do each year for your sake and for ours. Once a year, get in here. And please, as you know, we offer unlimited users, and it's great that many people use them and add lots of people, and that's great. Because we want everybody to be able to do their own searches and set up their own emails, and we are genuinely happy that you do that. But at the end of the year, or at least once a year, please do look at your list and see if there's anybody that you should be removing that shouldn't have access to the system anymore. And likewise, if there's somebody that should have been added and somehow it slipped through the cracks, this would be a great time to go ahead and get them in before the new session starts. So please just review your user list. And you can also make sure that the user access level is correct, that you have people set where you think they should be. So should they be able to add and remove comments from your bill sheet? Should they be able to add and remove users? Like, what level do you want them at? And we have a new user management tool that you can use to help you more quickly figure that out, who's at what and who has what. And that is just in the account menu. It says user management. And so if you have the right level of permissions in your account, then that tool is there, and it's just a bill sheet, so that can help you also really quickly review your users. So please do just take a minute to make sure everybody who's in there should be in there. Good for you, good for us. All right. you've got a bunch of bill sheets, you got a bunch of reg sheets. Maybe there's some of them you made that were you're just goofing around. You can delete them. You can go ahead and use this time to kind of delete them. So on the Manage tab of your bill sheet, there's a delete button. Chunk, get that out of there if you're never going to use it again. If you would like to keep, if it's not something you're going to use next year and you would like to keep access to it, you don't really want to delete it, but you don't need it in your main set anymore, then also on the Manage tab, there's an archive checkbox. So you can archive it and that'll move it to the bottom. It'll stop updating it and it'll be out of your way, but still available. And if you don't even need to see it anymore, but you're not ready to let it completely go, then you can put it in long-term storage. So it's like buying a little storage unit and putting it out of sight, out of mind. So how you do that is you go to user management, manage users. Why don't I just do it? Why wave my hands when I have BillTrack50 right here? All right, so real quick, manage users. And here's my users. And I can say, hey, Karen, what bill sheets do I have access to? And then I can set my level to whatever. So if I was manage and I didn't want to see it anymore, then I can say none, and that hides it. But it's still sitting here, and I can still put it back at any point. So you can do that to remove things from other people, but you can also edit yourself and remove the bill sheet from your account so that you're not seeing it. But again, you can always come back and get it anytime. So that's a way that you can just kind of put things out of the way so that your actual list maybe isn't 56 different things. Maybe you want to get it down to some sort of more less scary level. It's good to not intimidate yourself and make yourself miserable. A clean account is the sign of a clean mind. Right. Same thing for reg sheets. Go through, decide which ones you can just ditch, which ones you want to just archive, which you can just set the end date and put it away, and then which ones you're going to hide. If you want to keep them, but put them out of the way. Okay. Also, go ahead. Did I go back?
Yeah. There was a request on how to show people the steps for archive.
Okay, we'll be doing more on that in just half a second. So I will cover that. Fair question, but I will show you that in a minute. Because it is part of the whole rollover process as well. Okay, so then also, as long as you're kind of going through your sheets and thinking about them, kind of makes sense to double check that your alerts are how you want them. Remember, when you create a new bill sheet, it's default set to not send out any alerts because we don't want to just be sending you email that you don't want. So if you made a sheet over the summer and you're thinking you're going to get alerts as bills come in now, make sure that you turned on the alerts for that. So just kind of go through and make sure those alerts are set how you want them. And you might even want to remove some alerts for things you don't actually need emails for anymore. And as long as you're there, you might as well peek in on your queries. See if they look still right. See if the filters are still what you want. You might be surprised what you did that you forgot some other time. So if you don't have too many bill sheets or too many reg sheets, it is take a minute and kind of go through there, and you'll save yourself potentially some heartache as the pre-files start coming in. That way, that'll make sure that you're getting the right bills. Okay, now snapshots and rolling over, which will feature archiving. And see a little Bill rolling over. He's having fun. He's having a good day. And the snapshot, little snapshot sloth. Oh, whoever made the slides, you're a genius. Okay, so starting with snapshots. If you would like to keep a copy of your work and you work hard, you should probably keep a copy of your work. You should copy your sheet and then archive it. So let me show you how to copy a sheet and also how to archive it. All right, so the idea here is that, looking at one of my bill sheets, I don't know. Let's look at financial literacy. Okay. So I've gone through here and I've kind of removed bills that I didn't think were relevant. And so that took me some time. And I've added in a couple comments, like I've got a column here and I've set my, if I support or oppose it. So I've done some work on here. I don't want to just lose this work, but I also don't need to see the 2024 bills next year. So what to do? Here's what you do. You come in here and you go to the Manage tab and you take a copy of it. And I'll say copy, and I'm going to call it 2024 Financial Literacy. Great. So now I've got this copy. And if I look at my bill sheets, it'll be right there at the top because it's got a number as the first part of it. Let me do that. So now I've got my financial literacy bills here. So this is a copy, and the original is still in place doing its work. Now I can come here to the Manage tab and I can click this Archive button, just like that, and say Save. And what Archive does is it puts a little red flag up here that says Archive, but it also freezes this in place. So the bill updates will still continue to come through. So like the last action will update and stuff like that. So this actual information will continue to update. So if the bill passes, you will find out about it. But it will not look for new bills. So this is going to stick it with these 2024 bills and it won't start adding 2025 bills. If you go to the Query tab, you'll see it's all grayed out as a reminder to you that you were trying to save this as is, right? So you can go and unarchive it if you do want to make a change, but we're trying to help you keep this thing set in stone. So this is your snapshot of your bill sheet, how it looks today. Now that I have archived it, it's not in my list anymore because I don't need to see it every day. It's just a saved copy. Instead, when I archive it, it moves down here to the bottom. And so you can see other ones I've archived in the past, and then this one here. So these are in alphabetical order again, starting with all the archived ones. So now it's just down and out of my way. And in fact, I could go hide it from myself. Maybe I want to wait till next year to do that. But at some point, if I don't even need it here, I can hide it, but still have it there so that I can next year go back. How many bills was I tracking? How many did I support? How many of those passed? What did Colorado do? So I have that all at my fingertips to refer to so that you can start to build up your library of what's going on. So some of you were new this year, and some of you have been doing this a few years. And after a few years, you'll start to have like some really good intelligence here for yourself, or for whoever you hand this off to, because it lives, the whole company can see it if you choose to share it with them. So that is huge. And Patsy and I surely encourage you to save your work. It only takes a second, and then nobody has to be sad when the bills fall off next year because they're not in the current session anymore. Okay, so why do we suggest you do it that way? Why do we do this? Make a copy first, then archive the copy. Why don't you just archive the main one? Well, the reason we suggest that is lots of reasons. One, if you've got your alerts set up, that way the same alerts keep going out. If you share the bill sheet with anyone else, they still have it and they'll still get the alerts. If you have a widget set up, then the widget will continue to work. So if you just keep your main one ticking along year to year, then everything you've built on it will just continue to work. So you won't have to worry about your widgets or your maps or the things you shared or the alerts that are going out. All of that will still be fine. But you have taken a copy and archived the copy, which does no harm at all. Like you can always take a copy of a bill sheet for whatever reason, if you want to experiment with search terms or whatever. So take that copy, archive that, and that way that is just an extra and you've put it away for safekeeping, but your main one will continue to tick ahead and do all the things it's supposed to do. So after you do that, we suggest, I think we're going to suggest, no, it's later that we suggest, but just double check that your website's still working. And I'll say that again later, because if you mess it up, that's okay. Patsy and I can help you straighten it out. But it's easier for everybody, especially if I've written you custom code to do special things. It's easier if you just keep your same bill sheet going forward. All right, I don't know where Patsy went. So
okay, well, just before we move on, we have another question.
I was going to see if Stephen had anything. Go.
Yep. So how do you handle special session bills mingling with regular session?
Totally reasonable question. Because boy, there have been some, and there might be a couple
That's from
more before the
Karen.
end of the year. Okay, so
Well, her question's timely because that Karen is in Louisiana, which is in a
brand
special.
new special session.
Mm.
All right, good question, Karen. Okay, so if you do not have the session listed in your bill sheet, you can now go to templates and add the session column, and that will expose for you what is in a special session. So then you can just look for special, and it'll show you what bills you've got in a special session. If you don't want them, you can just X them out real quick. Or if you just want to see what they are, then you can just do that. And they all pretty well. Do we have extraordinary? No. So generally special is the word to look for. So that will help you identify them and either get them out or look at them special. So that is how you can identify them. But you've got to add that session column if you're going to do that, because otherwise you won't be able to tell easily which is which. You'll have to click on them. But if you click on it, it'll say here what the session is as well. So worst comes to worst, you can click on the bill and find out if it's a special session bill. And if you're in Louisiana, of course, you can just like sort and see what's been introduced recently, and that'll help you too. So again, a reminder, you can click on any column to sort. So you can click on the action date and it'll show you what has happened most recently. And that way you can see right away, like if you're just looking at Louisiana, the new special session ones will float to the top. Okay, so that actually turned out to be a couple answers to that question.
Yeah, the other one that I've sort of slept on in the early days was I like the date around the action, but we also have some other date options in the template that can be instructive in figuring out if the bill was a regular session bill or more recent. And I want to say it's called like added or created or something, or maybe they're both. But there are other date choices in the templates as well. So you can also go at it that way.
Yes, good call. So this created date is when we made the bill and put it in our database. It should be the day it was introduced, but it'll be close to the day it was introduced. So that is always a very quick way to see like what's been created recently. So you can see the new bills. And then there is also added date, and that is when you put the bill on your bill sheet. So if you plussed it in, or also just like when it hit your criteria. So like when it got your words on it, or when it reached the status level you're looking for, or whatever. And so that is a great way to see like what's been added to your bill sheet in the last little while. So yeah, as always, Patsy, very smart. It's almost like you do this all day. Very good. Okay.
We have one other question,
Nice.
which is another question from Steve. I know that State Stats has the session name and number and the session dates for each state, but is there a summary chart for all states anywhere? If not, that would be extremely helpful.
Right, it would be, and we have published them in the past. And I just
We
put away
have.
my BillTrack50.
And I've just put a link in chat, which is how legislative sessions work, which I think is the right one. Yes, which has a list of basically the dates for all states, whether they're biennial, annual, when they run, when they tend to start, when they tend to end, how long they last, that kind of thing.
very good. But also, and I think Patsy would be the first to tell you this, NCSL has a wonderful calendar.
Yeah.
And I think we'll send you that link. And then also multi-state has a great,
Oh, yes.
they have a really
That's
nice one. So
I
Google
would be the
multi-state schedule, and like that's a good one. So yeah, there's a couple places you can find it in BillTrack50, but some other people do a really beautiful job too. So we like the NCSL one, we like the multi-state one. So those are two you might look for too.
I'll put the link in.
If you want to link them, even better. Okay, so now how do you get your bill sheet to actually look at next year? So here's what you do. Once you've taken your snapshot, and all your data is saved, all safe and sound. So you know, if you screw it up, you've still got your stuff. Here's what you do. So you go to your query, and if you are set to current session, well, it's automatically just going to roll over. So what that means is, as pre-files start coming in, they're going to get mingled into your bill sheet, and we'll show you all the bills as they get introduced. And when the sessions end, well, at the end of the year, so January 2nd or so, when I get in and do it, all of the old sessions will fall out. So anything from any state but New Jersey will fall out of your bill sheet because those bills are now out and gone and no longer important. They're dead. So that's how that's going to work. Now, you don't have to have that work that way, but that's the default. If you have it set to current session, you'll start getting pre-files now. So you'll have both years in here for a little while. And then on January 2nd, all the old bills should fall out. You can, however, change that. So you can switch to say just what years you want. And if all you want right now is 2024 and you don't want to see the pre-files yet, then just set it to 2024 and we won't show you the new 2025 bills. If all you want is the pre-files after you take your snapshot and you're done, then you can come in here and say, just give me new bills. This will give you New Jersey, because New Jersey is still in session. And then the Texas bills that have just come in and the new Montana LCs and all of that stuff. So you'll get the new bills. Florida's got a bunch of bills. I think Alabama's got a bunch of bills. So like we'll show you what we already know is going to happen in 2025. And then as the state's sessions start spinning up, you know, you'll get those bills. So you can control if you get the pre-files in here, and you can control if you just want to see the new bills by switching to session years and picking the appropriate span of years. If you do set it to 2025, great, but maybe sometime next year, you're going to want to remember to come in and set it to current session. Or maybe last year you set it to 2024 and forgot to do that. So you're going to want to come in here and either scoot it up or put in both or change it to current session. So just your timeline is how you control what happens. So if you have it set to current session, it's going to roll over automatically. If you like what we're doing, showing you the new bills while still leaving this year there, great, then you're fine. If you want slightly different behavior, you can decide how you want it to act. Okay, so you do that. And then down here, you would have, let's see if I have one. Key bill sounds like. All right, so I've added these bills by bill number. So if I plus a bill in, it ends up down here. Or if I type a bill number in, then it shows up down there. So if I hover over this remove, it shows me what bills are from previous sessions. If I click on remove, it'll remove all of those. So then it just takes them all out. Now I don't actually want to remove, so I'm going to say cancel. So you have to say save for it to actually take into effect. But that will help you get rid of all of the bills you added in by bill number, because the timeline isn't going to affect that. The bills you've added by bill number are going to be on your bill sheet. We assume you knew what you were doing when you added them, and we don't worry about if they have your words or if they're in your bill progress or even if they're in the right year. So these stay stuck. And we have reasons for that, and we have your interest in heart. That's why it works this way on purpose. But you can just come in here, remove everything old. But again, take a snapshot to save your work before you go clearing out hundreds of bills, because we don't want you to lose that. We really don't. Take a snapshot first. Okay, so that is how you clean that up and get ready. The other thing is on your hidden tab. We also leave the bills that are hidden kind of permanently. And so you can clean out the ones that are no longer relevant and are from previous sessions by just hitting this clean. So clean will remove the things you don't need anymore. You can let them accumulate, and that's fine. But if you only want to see the stuff that is relevant to this year, you can clean out the old stuff. Clearing will remove all of the hidden bills. Probably not what you want to do, but it's there in case it is what you want to do. But yeah, so that's how you can get your bill sheets all fresh and ready to go. Look at the years, make sure the years are how you want it, or just have it be the default current session. You can remove the old bills. You can remove the extra hidden bills that you don't need anymore. And then your bill sheet's ready to go. Okay, Same thing for reg sheets. Oh, and as I noted, New Jersey
is a special place.
The other way around. So yeah, those bills are still going to stay. So even after you make it say just 2025, you're still going to have New Jersey in there. It is what it is. Okay, regulations, same stuff. But also remember we have a new rolling query option so that you can set it like a current session and just have it like show the last year or the last 2 years worth of regs. Yep. Okay. So almost to the end, but this is important. We've changed how we've structured the subscriptions and we're changing how we're pricing our subscriptions. Brace yourselves. Okay, so we are getting rid of all of our extra products, scorecards and afternoon alerts and the enterprise level, the AI tools, all of that stuff. We're all going to stick it in everybody's subscription. So all subscriptions going forward have all of our features in them. So all you do is do you need legislation? Do you need regulations? Simple, easy, great. That means that everybody gets our new group, the enterprise features, and they are great. So you might want to familiarize yourself with our group management tools. I'm not going to belabor those here, but if you have groups of people that need to see the same bill sheets, this is a great way to manage that. Reach out to us and we will help you get it set up in the way that will work for you. So this is if you've got state groups, if you've got different coalitions, if you've got different departments or silos within your company, if you've got clients and they have several people that are interested in the legislation, like any group you've got that's going to want to see similar stuff, we can help you. And this is very convenient if you've got groups to manage. Let us help you. So this is now included in everybody's subscription. Okay, so we are therefore changing our pricing. So if you are already buying more than one of our products, your price is probably going down. So if you have one state plus scorecards, for example, it just got cheaper. If you are only subscribing to just bill tracking, the price is going up. But hopefully you see that we've been hard at work with our AI tools and all the other stuff, and you can understand because we haven't really raised our prices in 10 years. So here it is. We're doing it. So basically you can pick one state or however many you need. Once you have 5 states, you've got the whole country. And then you can now buy regulations one state at a time or national. So those are the two, that's the pricing options. We also now are going to be offering monthly payments. So if you would like to pay monthly, you still have to buy an annual subscription, but we'll break the payments into 12 if you want. You need to do that on a credit card, obviously, but yeah, we can do that. And also we've decided to finally add the option to auto renew. So by default, when you buy your subscription, and all of you now are not set to auto renew, but if you want to, you can go ahead and just turn that on, and then you won't hear from me or Patsy to say, hey, do you want to keep with BillTrack50? We'd like to touch base with you. We'd like to hear how the year went. That's why we've always made it so that we need to talk to you. But if you're doing great, you can just set it to auto renew. And I mean, honestly, Patsy will probably still say hi, right?
Yeah, I'm still gonna say hi. How's it going? Sarcasm aside, though, like those reflections can be really powerful because, particularly if you're in a state that is short and fast, there is a lot of lag before you come back to the system, and taking time to reflect post session is really powerful to say, hey, how'd it go? And gather information, make adjustments, tweaks, things like that. So definitely enjoy touching base regardless of whether it's about money or not. So hopefully, even if you do pick auto renew, you still occasionally, show up on my Google Meet or Zoom calendar to have a chance to talk about how it's going.
Yes, indeed. Don't be a stranger, all you guys. But you're not. Here you are. So thank you for that. Now, you may not be excited about the new pricing. We understand. If you renew before the end of the year, you can keep your current pricing. And you don't have to actually pay us by the end of the year. You just have to indicate to me or Patsy that you are renewing, and that is good enough. And we will keep you at the current price. But as I pointed out, the price might be going down. So maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want to go ahead and go with the new price, which we're happy to let you do as too. Like so yeah, so those are the new prices. They'll be on the website tomorrow. So speaking of, if you buy a new subscription at any time after like Friday night, it's going to show you the new prices. If you're on a free trial or we have already quoted you a price, reach out to us. We will respect what you were originally told. Or if you go to renew, it's going to show the new prices. Again, just reach out to us and we will give you your current price. So if you don't renew today, it's fine. Just reach out to us. That's all, which is, how it used to go anyway. All right, so I'm going to take 2 seconds to talk about what we're working on, and then we can see if there's any general questions. Okay, so as I mentioned, our regulations are getting better all the time. So hopefully soon you'll be able to search by agency and status and lots of other things. So we'll have a bunch more columns and you'll be able to do better searching. We're going to be trying to do our AI regulation summaries. And so those should be good and helpful. And then we're going to add semantic searching. So we're going to try to give you a little box where you can put in, like you would with ChatGPT, of I'm interested in bills that have to do with newborn screening, but also we're sponsored by Democrats. Maybe not that, but anyway, you put in like kind of the thing you're interested in a sentence, and it will try to figure out, okay, here's some bills you might be interested in. So that is the next thing that we're working on for an AI feature for the bills. So that's kind of where we're going, and we would love to hear what kind of AI features you think would be cool, or other features you think we should be working on. Doesn't have to be AI. Obviously, all of our best ideas come from you guys. I like the little crystal ball. Good one there. Looking into the future. I get it. Okay, so again, we're sending you an email with all of the different things that we want you to have. So like all of this information will be coming in that email so that you can make the most out of this webinar and getting ready, and just make sure that everything is ready to go. Okay, so again, our emails and any questions, any last things that we can answer for you as we stare down the barrel of yet another year.
So we did have a question about will there be a link to this presentation? So I've put a link in the chat to the blog where we will link to it, and as Patsy said, it will also be emailed around.
Yes, correct. Assuming I remembered to start recording. Did I record this? I think I did. So
You
yes.
did.
Yes, then yes. Good news, everybody. There will be a recording, but also, again, there's written instructions coming. So if you don't want to wade through this, but if you enjoy my excitable demeanor, then please come and watch it again. Any other questions about the new features, the new pricing, AI in general? What's the world coming to? Anything? Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming. It was great to see you. So glad you made a little time. Hopefully you found this useful. Hopefully we will have saved you time when the new year starts. And if there's anything we can do, please do reach out. You know that we mean it. All right. And with that, go ahead and say bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.